Hi everyone, I'm Natalia. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to do almost a follow-up video to a video I did, I think about a month ago, that a lot of you really thought was really helpful with your one morning draws, and I'll link it below. It's changing the way you ask questions for your morning draws with which door to go through. And if you haven't seen it, I'll link it below. It's a really good one to watch. That video got me thinking about boundaries, and it got me thinking about boundaries in a new and fresh way, and a way that we can use tarot to ask a particular question that will also give us that active visual to help us set boundaries. Boundaries are a really interesting concept to me because I think a lot of us, when we think about boundaries, we think about an immediate, I think a lot of us are thinking about immediate physical boundary. I think a lot of us are thinking about um, boundaries in the sense of physical boundary. And we tend to really neglect how diverse boundaries really are. There are boundaries in regard to your emotional space. There's boundaries in regard to your spiritual space. There's boundaries in regard to your tarot practice. There's boundaries in regards to your content making. There's all sorts of boundaries, and they tend to be even boundaries toward ourselves. Sometimes, if not sometimes, oftentimes, we have to work on our own boundaries within ourselves for ourselves. So, not necessarily boundaries we set in terms of external boundary between ourselves and other or ourselves in the world, but internal boundary between ourselves and our needs and our wants, which I think oftentimes is one of the most neglected boundaries that we tend to not pay attention to and disregard. So it got me thinking about boundaries because there's so many different ways to set boundaries, and boundaries tend to fall into different categories. And there also can be different forms of boundaries. They can be very rigid and set in place as an absolute no crossing. You can't cross this boundary. So for me, as a content creator, a no for me would be somebody who is exhibiting some kind of hateful or negative speech in a comment below. That's a no. That comment gets deleted. That's a very rigid boundary that I uphold for my platform. Another boundary might be some things that may be more permeable, meaning that there will be restrictions in place, but they will be conditioned upon, and then you put in place whatever it is they're conditioned upon. And then sometimes boundaries are very flexible. They're more permeable. So there's all different sorts of ways of mitigating those boundaries. And as I get older, I'm starting to realize how little do I not only tend to comprehend the essentials of boundaries, but how much I tend to neglect it in my everyday life. And as I get older, the more I focus on the significance and importance of boundaries in my life, especially as a way of protecting and preserving my energy, as a way of taking care of myself. One of my biggest boundary is on my phone. I have a downtime right now. It's showing downtime. So I wake up at 5 a.m. Between 5 a.m. to 6, it's my time to meditate, yoga, journal, tarot cards reading. 6 to 7 is reading time and a little bit of interacting on social media. From 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., my phone goes on lockdown. I cannot access Instagram. I cannot access any other social media platforms I'm on. And the only way I will permit myself access to it is if I am literally on a toilet taking a piss, because I want mentally to equate social media. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's just like toilet time because I'm on social media. A lot of us are. It's a great way to connect and share with everybody. But I also don't want it to connect with something that it is essentially time that is being wasted unless you use it prudently. So I'm on a lockdown, and that's my boundary for myself. That's what I need so that I can allow the headspace to focus on other things. And then at 6 p.m., when it unlocks, I can go back on social media and interact with everybody and comment with everybody. So this is one great example of setting a boundary for yourself. I know people who do to do what they call technological Shabbat, where on Friday and weekend, they don't go on social media. Everything is turned off. It's their technological detox, Shabbat, whatever you want to call it. It's essentially a way to take care of yourself. So there's so many ways we can do boundary settings in our life. And that got me to thinking about how we can use cards, especially oracle cards, I think are really, really conducive for this type of work with setting boundaries. And what question can we place to ourselves, especially if we're not really very self-aware, which boundary needs to be tightened, which boundary we need to take a look at, which boundary demands or needs our attention. So I have thought about this question to ask ourselves, and it's the question I've been using for a while now. It's been working wonders for me. I would love for all of you to try it. If you're interested in it, let me know how it works out for you. So the question to ask yourself with cards is, which window do I need to close? So why, first of all, why window and why not a door? The reason why not a door, door is a threshold through which we go through and through which we allow and permit things, right? Oftentimes a house has so many doors. But if you think about a window, right, it then becomes something that within your house, if you think about a house as your inner self, as your big psychic self, your windows, you have multiple windows. You have windows in your bedrooms, you have windows in your kitchen, you have windows leading outside. And they're part of the house structure, but they're not necessarily as rigid as a door. A door, if you close the door, that almost always represents a more rigid form of boundary. Windows, we tend to close temporarily. Sometimes we tend to close partially. Sometimes we tend to open really wide to let the air in. Sometimes we don't even touch them until winter comes. So there's so many ways to play with the window metaphor, because sometimes we'll draw the shutters, sometimes we'll cover the curtains or open up the curtains. So there's a lot again here to explore with the metaphor of window. And because we are a house, our psyche is a house, there's lots of windows within our house, within our psyche. So while one window, aka one boundary within yourself, is wide open to the other world or partially open and flexible and permeable, another window in another part of your room, let's say in regards to your relationship to let's say you are a writer and you have a slot when you have to write and it's completely do not disturb time. Well, that could represent a window that is really tightly closed between this time period and it's absolutely nobody can enter. So I love the metaphor of window because it allows you to then imagine and play on all these windows within yourself and all of them being opened or closed or I'm thinking about light because I'm looking at my window in front of me and how much light is coming in right now. You're having all these little nuances. So I think it's a great question to ask yourself in regards to boundary, which window needs to be closed? And then once you draw a card, you are welcome to explore deeper and to ask, to what extent does this need to be shut? Or for how long do I need to keep it shut? So you can see now we're going and spinning with this and it can take us in multitude of directions. So I really love this idea because it's also, again, actionable, because when you ask yourself, language is so powerful. When we say which window needs to be closed, we are actively imagining ourselves closing that window. It's an active, it asks for you to do something, which I love again. So I think oracles are really, really great for this. You, of course, welcome to use tarot, but I love the idea of oracles for the boundary setting. And you know what? Sometimes you may already know which boundary you want to set. And then what you can play with this question is to what extent that this boundary needs to be reenacted. What can help me close this window? How can I keep this window shut? Some boundaries are very difficult to keep in place. I know that when I started my boundary with downtime on my phone, it was really, really difficult. It was difficult not to unblock it and give myself permission. So if you struggle with something as a boundary to set for yourself, you may ask for some guidance. How can you uphold it? So there's lots of ways this can go. I love the idea of oracles. One of the reasons why I love the idea of oracles for this is because I just feel like there's a little bit more creativity here on a table. One of the oracles I've been enjoying using for this is an oracle that has been new to me, but I've been working for this for a month, and I think some of you have it. It's fantastic. I really need to do a video of this. It's called Magical Spirit Oracle, The Brilliant View. I love this type of theme of artwork. It has really, really great booklet, which I did not bring. It's an Amazon deck. So it was created by a creator, Alexis Raccoon, who actually has a psychological background. She went to school to study psychology before she decided to pursue her art, which I love because it really feels like it has the type of spiritual growth through embracing of the mental health aspect to it, even though she doesn't really directly speaks about mental health aspect in the cards. One of the other reasons why I love this oracle, let me show you the cards as I talk about this. This is the backs, it is gilded. One of the other reasons why I really like working with this for boundary setting in terms of which window needs to be closed is because she broke down cards into elements. So there's those representing air, fire, water, and earth. And the reason why I like that is because it's immediately, depending on the card you pick, for the boundary you need to pay attention to. If you pick a card, for example, in an earth domain, you can immediately start journaling on just how it may relate to your health, how it may relate to your body, how it may relate to your relationship to concrete things, maybe your relationship to money. So you see how just breaking it down into elementals is taking you down this path of looking at it a little bit deeper and getting much more meaning out of it. If you picked a card that signifies belongs to water category, you can then go down the rabbit hole of thinking about, okay, this has to do with heart. This has to do, I love this card. This has to do with emotions. I love this one. It says on a cup that she's in, it says, it's okay. I don't know what I'm doing either. Sweet oblivion, uncertainty, fate, humor. I love that. So I think just the elementals alone is a really great way. And I've been really enjoying this one for which window I need to close. I've been just enjoying this one. It's just by itself as an oracle, as a spiritual guide. It is lovely. It is very balanced. I feel like it has a nudge. It challenges you. And it's also at the same time gives you the hug that you need. So this is the first oracle that I would recommend. If you have it, let me know what you think about it. I really like it. I like the booklet. It surprises me because sometimes I see what the keyword she has on the cards, and when I read the booklet, I'm surprised because she writes a little bit different than what the keywords. It's still the same, but she takes you in a direction you didn't expect. And I really appreciate that. So been really, really enjoying this. So this is Magical Spirit Oracle by Alexis Raccoon on Amazon. So this is the first one that I think would be great for boundary setting. Another one that would be fantastic for boundary setting is Isis Oracle by Alana Fairchild, either pocket edition, or if you want a big media booklet with lots of information, the original one. Why do I love this one for boundary setting? Because to me, boundary setting is about stepping into our sense of power, in a sense of stepping into being able to exercise our vocal chakra, especially for women, being able to exercise our voice, our I. Boundary settings, whether you are setting it with somebody else or with yourself, requires speaking, whether you're speaking it internally in your headspace or speaking out loud, so you can clearly communicate to somebody what that boundary is. And so for that reason, one of the biggest ways we set boundaries verbally is using our voice. For a lot of us, for a lot of women especially, our throat chakra is blocked. I know for me it has been for a long time. So to be able to set my boundary and to uphold it and to own it and not to feel especially guilt about my boundary or shame, this is going to be a really, really good deck to empower you to step into your sovereignty and not feel bad about it. Because you know what? Your boundary are yours and they are your set of values. There's the ways that you decide what's important to you and you should honor it. And if somebody can't honor them, that's on them. That's really on them. So as this oracle is going to be really, really great for that. I was thinking about how, for me, sorry, I hate when there's like a little hair that is hanging and then it starts tickling my neck. Drives me nuts. My husband always cracks up because I come up to him and say, "Can you remove the hair from my back?" And it's like his function, occasional function for him, and he just cracks up every time. You know, in my work as a psychologist with my Dr. Z PhD YouTube channel, one of the boundaries I had to set is to what extent I'm going to interact with subscribers on my channel, because I do have a big channel on that end over there. And a lot of people comment, and it takes a lot of energy and exhausting. At the beginning, I was commenting on every single comment until it just became not feasible, not sustainable, and it started to drain me. And I learned hard way that even though you're not verbally talking to the person, even people just commenting and you reading that comment, even if you don't respond back, that energy still affects you. And some people have energy that is just going to drain you no matter what the distance you place between you and them. And that's not good. That's not good. So Alana Fairchild, Iris Oracle is another one great for boundary setting. Okay, guys, I have 3 more decks for boundary settings that I think will be good for you to share with you. Next one is a newbie on my list too. Been working with Stu, really enjoy this. She pairs really well with Circle of Doors, my favorite tarot deck. It is Soul Mirror cards, also Amazon. It is by Sunshine Connolly and artwork by Anna Novaes. I don't like the booklet. It doesn't do anything to me. It feels very, for me, it feels very surfacey, so I don't even use the booklet. But I do like the images, and I do like that there's the main keyword, like here, sadness. And underneath the main keyword, there's always 2 words that are polar opposites, defensive/listening. So you can decide if you pick this one, for example, on which window to close. You can ask yourself, what is in my life that is causing me sadness right now? What is in my life that is affecting me and is causing me sorrow? And then you can ask yourself, am I going to have my window closed, defend my energy? Is it too much for me right now to deal with this? Or am I going to partially close it, but allow a little bit of room for listening to what might be happening? Is there something I can learn here? And if whatever it is that there's no way you're going to learn anything from here, just going to hurt you, then you might want to go all the way on defensive. So you can see already how this becomes a really great fun for the key question, which window do I need to close? The artwork is great. Racine Avalmoon 513 shared it at first. And when she shared it, I did not care about artwork. I think the cards, when we show them through camera, they don't quite do the justice. There's something about the cards in person. There's something about them that is very emotive and moody and draws you in. So yeah, I like this oracle quite a bit. Don't care for the booklet again, unfortunately, but you know what? The keywords are great, and they are enough at the jumping points for journaling, for yeah, like this one, right? So which window do I need to close? Knowledge, ignorant/knowing. So what do I refuse to see? What do I need to see? What do I need to acknowledge? What do I need to know? Are there some things that maybe where I'm getting my information is not helpful for me, and maybe it's best for me to not know? Sorry, I have like a fly in my office. I don't even know where the flies are coming from. Maybe it's my orchid. Maybe you are watching too much like news and not really good news. Maybe it's too much of news that is not very objectable. I mean, even though it's hard to find factual news these days, but let's say it's not Associated Press or NPR, And let's say it's like, I don't know, Fox News, which in my opinion, a lot of it could be more opinion-based versus, it's more like subjective-based. So maybe what you need to do is you need to close the window on that, and it's not really serving you well. So this is another one. And what I like about this oracle has a lot of cats, and I've been really craving a cat lately. I used to have cats. I used to have 2 cats. We had a tendency, David and I, to name pets after food. So we had a black cat named Kimchi, and we had a tiger cat named Chowder. We had a dog named Schnitzel, and David's daughter Fiona had she had a pair of bigger rats. I think they were rats, and they were named Pork and Chops, so pork chops. So I don't know, I guess we like to eat. So they were named after the food. So this would be Soul Mirror Oracle cards. Next one on the list is Magic of the Oracle by Fiona Horn. Speaking of Fiona. I have a booklet somewhere over there. Why this one would be really good for setting boundaries and asking that question, which mirror needs window, not mirror, which window needs to be closed? Because this oracle is, in my opinion, really, really focused on your inner self. So this is going to be really good fun for that internal world. Maybe even a boundary setting within yourself would be a really good fun versus an outsider. And I love the artwork in this one. I always say I only wish it had more cards, but other than that, I really, really like the artwork. So where's this one could be more conducive maybe toward boundaries with other outside world. This is, I would say, outside world, and also how to feel more empowered, although all of them can be outside or internal world. The mirror oracle that I just showed can be also fantastic both for outside and inside. This one in particular, I feel way, way more inside oriented. And the last one that I will show, I think these two are more geared towards setting boundaries within yourself. What do you need to do for yourself? Where are you lacking within yourself? Because remember, our internal self, is composed of multitude of selves. One can say there's one unifying self that is made up of different selves. That's why when I show up, I'm never the same person. There's different aspects of Natalia, right? Even different video will sound and look different because sometimes I'm more playful, sometimes I'm more serious, sometimes I'm more, if you haven't seen me and Kasia did live, oh my God, what a hoot. We had so much fun. Talk about completely being goofy and having a ton of laughs. If you haven't seen it, it was hilarious. So much fun to do. So it's we all have different aspects within ourselves, and each one of us within ourselves has her or his or their own boundaries that needs to be set. And for that reason, you have to look at it as from that vantage point. So this would be Magic of You, very good for internal boundaries by Fiona Horn. And then finally, the last one is another Alana Fairchild deck, Sacred Travels. I had to pick this one because this one is so geared toward your spiritual, soulful self. And when we work on ourselves and our own spiritual, soulful self, we do need boundaries. We do need those things in place. We do need to know what's important to us, what's not important, what's in alignment with us, and what in disalignment with us. What do we need to let go, and what do we need to keep? So this is another one for boundary setting. There is, I'm trying to think if I know any great books on boundaries. I think there's a classic one, Draw Your Line, called Draw Your Line. It has a pencil, I think, drawing a red line on a white cover. I think that's the one a lot of people tend to really like. I think boundaries are really fascinating. And when I work with my clients, I always discuss and talk about boundaries because especially in my sphere of the work, people really struggle with setting boundaries. And it becomes really important and essential part of the work. So this is another good one for internal boundaries. I love this one. I love monkeys. When I see monkeys, it makes me really smile. So this is Sacred Rebels Oracle. If you have a book on boundaries that you think is amazing and change your life, link it below, share it below so others who are looking for a great book can see it. If you are also have an Oracle deck, you love working for this, share it below too, and just share in general what you experience is these boundaries. I know that mine is as I get older, especially as I get older, is getting a much more personalized experience with boundaries. I notice myself having a better understanding and grasp understanding on what boundaries are, having a more clear understanding on what I value, what's important to me, what I cherish, and having a much more stronger sense of self and a stronger sense of personal ability to be able to say no, to be able to draw a line, to be able to protect myself, my energies, my time, my space. That has been really essential. And using the throat chakra as a woman and being able to say, no, I disagree, I don't agree, not going to happen, has been definitely work in progress. And I'm glad that I had to go through it because it has been instrumental in my life. So share below, what are your thoughts on boundaries? Are there boundaries you particularly struggle with? And hopefully this has been a helpful video to all of you. I wish you all of the best, and I will see you all next time. Bye.